Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Velomobile News. I'm Jason Latimer, and this is my. I'm going to make a web show here for you and see what we can do. This is the pilot episode, and I'm new to the whole web broadcasting thing, so you're going to have to give me some patience here while I learn how all of this works. First of all, I'll tell you a little bit about the show. Velomobile News is going to be produced like this. This is going to be segment one. Will be in here. We're going to go over some news when it's relevant, and news and reviews and some information about Velomobiles. And then the second segment will take place out in the garage in my shop area where I'm currently building my Velomobile. And right now this is the pilot episode. So right now all we're going to do is we're going to go over what I've already built, what I am currently building, and what the plans are for the future. So that's the intro for the show, and as I said, the show is going to be for Velomobile information, advocacy, and kind of a forum to help everybody get together and figure out how we can increase the awareness of Velomobiles and put more of them out there so we can help out with the environment and help out everybody get healthy, and basically give people the option to know that there is an alternative to an automobile that's actually possible to use. Because there are plenty of articles I've seen. People like bicycles, people like riding their bicycles, but a lot of people don't realize that there are options to ride bicycles in inclement weather. My wife, for example, would love to ride bicycles in inclement weather, but she doesn't like worrying about, around here in Ohio, when it does snow or ice up, it's not consistent. There's patches of snow and patches of ice where the studded tires wouldn't do you any good unless you're completely off-road, because the minute you hit a dry spot with some of the studded tires, the metal studs, you could slip and fall on the dry pavement. So, and Velomobiles can solve a lot of problems when it comes to riding in inclement weather, and we'll go over that later. I guess the first thing we should answer is for the people who don't know what it is. And yeah, I realize we got a goofy looking microphone sitting here, so this is the first episode. I am looking for a lapel mic so we can get rid of this and free up the goofy microphone look. At any rate, let's just jump right in. For those of you watching, probably asking, what is a Velomobile? And a lot of people that I know of that know what I'm building out in the garage are still asking me what a Velomobile is. So, first of all, we're going to tell you what it's not. A Velomobile is not a pedicab or a rickshaw. I have heard them described that way. They are not that. Pedicabs and rickshaws, their main goal in life is to haul goods and cargo or people. A Velomobile has one purpose, is to haul the people that are in it. It's usually a single passenger vehicle. There are Velomobiles that are two passenger, but mainly those two passenger Velomobiles, both people are going to be pedaling at the same time. Velomobile should also be able to carry maybe a few bags of groceries, maybe your lunch or what have you, and maybe a gym bag. But at any rate, what a Velomobile is. A Velomobile is kind of a vehicle. It's a human-powered vehicle, powered generally with pedals. They could be hand-pedaled, foot-pedaled. Most of them are foot-pedaled. Most Velomobiles you're going to find that you can buy, they're going to be three-wheeled trikes. There are a couple of trikes that are they're called Delta trikes. Delta trikes have one wheel in the front and two wheels in the back. The rest are tadpole trikes. They are two wheels in the front and one wheel in the back. And that's what, with the front wheels, always do the steering. You don't want anything that steers from the back because you get going any rate of speed, the back wheel, you're out of here. Any rate. Most of them are recumbent tadpole trikes. There are some recumbent Delta trikes, but Velomobiles are always recumbents. They have to be recumbent because for aerodynamic benefits, and we'll go over some of that later. Velomobiles have three wheels or more Usually 3 wheels. I've seen some designs for 4-wheeled Velomobiles. I don't see any reason why you would want any more than 4 wheels. So let's just stick with 3 or 4 wheels, human powered. And one of the main benefits of a Velomobile, or one of the main parameters, it's got a shell around it. It's got a full aerodynamic enclosure around it. Some of them are fully enclosed, meaning they have a canopy over the top with windows so you can see out of. And some of them are called, they're what's known as head-out Velomobiles, which means essentially you have a full shell around you, and from about here up, it's like driving a convertible automobile with no windshield. In other words, usually the top part of your head is going to stick out of the Velomobile. From what I've seen, it's usually right about where your chin is where your head would stick out. And those vehicles usually come with like a kayak style hood or like a flexible fabric roof you can put over top of it. What are the benefits of owning a Velomobile? Well, they generally have 2 benefits. One of the main benefits, it's going to be twofold. It's going to be aerodynamics, and it's going to be protection from the elements. Let's go over with protection from the elements first. Basically, a Velomobile, since it's basically we want to keep 3 or 4 wheels or more, the 3-wheeled Velomobiles, since you don't have 2 wheels on the ground anymore, you don't have to worry about balance. The balance is taken care of. It's sitting on the ground. It's not going to fall over. So you've taken care of that. So if it's raining, snowing, sleeting, ice, it doesn't really matter because you don't have to worry about falling over. So we've taken care of the stability issue. The Velomobile as a concept, you get the body around it, the protection from the elements. It protects you in the summertime. Well, let's just go with the inclement weather first. Inclement weather riding wise, a Velomobile will protect you from the elements by providing a shield as if you were in a car. It keep you from getting wet. You can even the head-out Velomobiles with the hood around it. I've seen there are plenty of people riding these Velomobiles that I have noticed. You can ride them in absolute pouring rains and thunderstorms, and from what I am told from the people that own those vehicles and use them in the rain, they still don't get wet. I mean, they get a little wet up in their head area because that's what's sticking out in the head-out Velomobiles. But they're so covered up that they can usually do a pretty good job of staying high and dry. As far as in the summertime is concerned, you got to remember that most Velomobiles are not going to have a huge glass canopy. So, and you really want to avoid a lot of glass on a Velomobile because it's essentially you're like riding around in the summertime in a car with no air conditioning. But that's not how it is in a Velomobile in the summertime, because there are holes in them a lot of them have holes in the bottom, so you can stick your feet down and push off Fred Flintstone style for a revert. That's basically how you reverse in a Velomobile. Air comes in through there. You do get air over your head, and even the ones with the total glass canopies like the Go 1 Evolutions and the Go 1 style Velomobiles, those type of Velomobiles are usually have vents around to provide flow-through ventilation, and you need some flow-through ventilation to keep you cooled off. But most of them, it's essentially, it's a covered shell, so even in the dead of summer, you got flow-through ventilation and you're covered. So it's essentially like riding in the shade. Even in the dead of summer, it would be like riding in the shade the whole time you're riding, because you're covered from the sun. You're being blocked from the sun by the shell of the Velomobile. So In the other thing is, in the dead of winter, and I have heard stories from people who ride velomobiles in 20-degree weather wearing nothing more than a t-shirt and shorts. Now, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to some of you riding in cars that have never been in a velomobile. But here's the way it goes. It's not like driving your car. It's not like driving your car, because you're still pedaling, so it is still exercise. Essentially, what happens is the human body, it's been said, while exercising, has the potential to develop as much as 1,000 watts of excess heat. And anybody that's owned a little space heater knows what 1,000 watts of excess heat in a space heater will do. So it doesn't take much of imagination to believe that 1,000 watts being generated by a person exercising could keep the interior of a velomobile relatively warm and keep all the excess wind off of you when you have gale-forced blizzard gusts heading at you. So there are huge benefits to the protection from the elements from a velomobile. It actually makes it possible to ride year-round, with the exception of maybe those few places like around here, maybe the 1 week out of the year where you're dealing with 6, 8, or 12-inch snow. But most of the time, that's not an issue. What's the other benefit? The other advantage to owning a velomobile is aerodynamics. Now, that doesn't mean much to most people. Most people are a little confused with the aerodynamics, and I have a diagram here. It isn't going to come out really well the way I'm holding it up. I'm going to post this on the site. Anytime I talk about the site in the show, I'm talking about www.velomobilenews.com. I'm going to post this in the same post on the blog as I post the video to the show that you're watching right now. It'll also be on YouTube, but you'll be able to go over there to the website and pull up this diagram as well. It's a nice big diagram I found on the internet. Where this comes from, I don't know, because I've seen this several different places, and there really isn't any way to ascertain where it originally came from. But let's go over aerodynamic benefits. There's two benefits to a velomobile aerodynamically. Not only do you have the shell around you, which is generally going to be designed to be aerodynamic, but you're also in a recumbent position, which means you're pretty much in a reclined lazy boy type of position when you're pedaling. Your pedals are out here, your controls are here, and you're pretty much in a lazy boy reclined position. Why that is a benefit is simply because when you're in that recumbent position, you provide a lower cross-section of area, a lower frontal area that you provide yourself to the wind. Now, that's a benefit in addition to the shell around you being a benefit. And I'll show you, I'll just go over some of the information on here. A BMX bike, let's just go with drag coefficient. I'll just give you a simple number for the drag coefficient because everybody's aware of usually what their car is. The drag coefficient of a standard car is somewhere between, the Chevrolet Volt right now is 0.25, 0.26, I believe. The Nissan Leaf may be 0.27, 0.28, something. Or the Prius is around there too. Most cars are 0.3 to 0.35. That's about where it goes for an automobile. Now, a BMX bike and a European bike, meaning an upright cruiser-style bike, the standard upright bikes everybody's used to, the coefficient of drag on those are 1.1. The drag coefficient is horrible. In other words, and if I remember correctly, I believe that as you're going, I think it's about 20 miles an hour. I'm going to have to look up the numbers to be sure. But about 20 miles an hour, I believe it's about 60-70% of your effort is going forward, just pushing air out of the way. And I believe that's 15 to 20 miles an hour. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look that up. Let's see, the racing bike, the aero bikes, the Lance Armstrong style bikes. You've seen those. those can be anywhere from 0.83 to 0.88, so you're still horrible aerodynamically compared to an automobile. Something with a partial fairing, which you don't see, gets it down to the 0.7 range. An easy racer style recumbent is listed at 0.77. Tandems are 1.0. Drafting can be 0.5, which would mean, say, Lance Armstrong racing in the Tour de France, when, say, you have a lot of riders in line with each other, closely following each other. The drafting, just as in NASCAR, just as in automobile racing, drafting can be a huge benefit, and this shows that as the drag coefficient can be as little as 0.50. But again, you're still worse than a car. Excuse me. We get down to a vector-styled track, which is pretty Velomobile style. Most Velomobiles are going to be down here. Even the Vector Tandem they have listed here is going to be 0.11 to 0.13, which is significantly lower aerodynamically than even the General Motors EV1. The most aerodynamic car out there is probably twice the drag that one of these. The aerodynamic benefits to this vehicle, and if you want to know what a Vector looks like, I've got a picture of one here. This is called the Vector, the Versatron. This was produced back in the 80s, and it competed, and I believe this particular vehicle ran 56 miles an hour, I believe it was, on flat ground. In the HPV races held by, I believe it's the International Human Powered Vehicle Association. They have a website as well. I'll post a picture of this vehicle and links where you can find information. You can actually find this vehicle listed under Vector in the review section of velomobilenews.com, but I'll post a picture of it on the blog post as well. What are the reasons for owning a Velomobile? Well, there's plenty of reasons. First, one example is, as I said, we've already gone over several reasons why they're better than, well, they're not better than cars. Let's not go with better. Let's go with, it's a good alternative to a car. It gives you, there's several reasons we already went over why you can use these on a daily basis in inclement weather. Basically, anytime you can drive a car, with the exception, as I said, when you're dealing with maybe 80-mile-an-hour winds, maybe when you're dealing with blizzard conditions, when you got 7-8 inches of snow on the ground. Maybe those are the only times in the year you don't want to ride a Velomobile, but, I mean, honestly, how often does that really happen? It can be a good alternative to a car. I mean, here's a statistic I seen recently puts, for the first time in human history, more than 50% of us live in cities. So, and that's a huge number. That's a huge number. Because previous to this, more than 50% of us lived in rural areas and farmlands and suburbs and whatnot. Now, more than 50% of us live in cities. Anybody that lives in a city can tell you how much of a pain in the ass it is to drive a car. Cars are ridiculously horrible as far as driving around. And believe me, I'm a classic car guy. I've had 2 Trans Ams. My dad's had about every classic 60s muscle car you can name, and I still plan on building an electric car in the future. But cars are getting to the point to where they are ridiculously expensive. My wife and I have one car now. It's a Toyota Yaris. They're ridiculously expensive. They're horrible with maintenance. The maintenance on cars anymore. I mean, if you go to get a car fixed at the shop, you're looking at $1,000 or more, easy. So, the gas is getting too expensive. The gas in Ohio here in Central Ohio at least. I believe by Memorial Day we're supposed to be at $4 a gallon again. Now, if you're watching this in Australia or Europe or somewhere, or even the UK, now, I mean, I'm aware that you guys are already paying $8, $9, $10 or $8, $9, $10 per gallon for gas. Now, that's insane. That's really insane, really. I mean, and even if we could be riding all electric cars, which granted would solve a lot of that problem, because I mean, I think they'll go like 100 miles on $2 of electricity, but a Velomobile will go 100 miles on whatever it is you ate that day. You don't have to charge it. You don't have to put gas in it. So we had a minivan that I was using to commute back and forth to work. We were paying about $200 a month just in gasoline. Now, we've solved that problem. We don't have it anymore. So we've able to figure out our routine and just with the one car. But if you can do that, or if you just, even if you still need a car, a lot of us have two cars. Well, most of us, another statistic I read, most people, like 90 to 95% of the population, at least in the United States, I don't know what this statistic is elsewhere, but at least in the U.S., most of us are running around driving less than 40 miles a day. And the more of us that live in cities, the lower that number gets. The last time I heard somebody else just recently claim that it was 35 miles. But 40, 45 miles, that's easily within the range of a Velomobile. I mean, that's nothing when you consider how much lower the pedaling resistance is you're talking about. It's a great way to get exercise. I mean, I need more exercise. I'm looking to get better exercise. My doctor's been on me about my cholesterol. So it's good to get the exercise, make you healthier, give you more energy by commuting to work in a Velomobile. A Velomobile gives you the ability to do so in inclement weather, and you can stay high and dry. And as we stated earlier, you can even stay warm in the wintertime. And that's pretty much where we go with the benefits of the Velomobile. And anybody who wants to see good video, there's a YouTube user that I love watching. I love his videos. I think it's Nitramlup. I'm not even sure how to pronounce it. Somebody's going to have to correct me on this. It's Nitramluap. That's his username on YouTube. You can find him writing I believe it's a Center Mango. There's a few other guys that do similar type videos. His videos are, some of them are 20, 25 minutes. Some of them are half hour, 45 minutes long. Some of them are as little as 9 or 10 minutes long. Excellent video from a perspective of somebody riding in a Velomobile, and give you an example of what they can do. I've seen several videos of these guys that can ride along in like say group rides. They regularly pass the upright riders. Now, going uphill in a Velomobile, you are at a slight disadvantage because the extra weight makes you a little slower. The slight slower going uphill, all you do is just gear it down, crank your way up the hill. You are a little slower, 5 to 8 miles an hour slower than the uprights. But when you get on the level or you're going downhill, you're going to be 2 to 3 times faster. You're going to be several times faster than the guys on the uprights. Matter of fact, they're so efficient aerodynamically, and the other thing is the rolling resistance. They usually run on relatively slick, high-pressure tires, so efficiency-wise, they're awesome. They're like soapbox racers going downhill. So, and I've seen several videos on YouTube where people are racing and people are running along in Velomobiles, going downhill, traveling at speeds of 50, 60, even 70. The highest speed I've seen yet is 72 miles an hour. Now, some of these I've seen, I don't know if it's an option or how you get a hold of these, but I've seen some of these in Europe where they actually have drag chutes. For the people that live in the mountains, they actually have drag chutes in the back that help slow them down going down the hills so they don't pick up too much speed. So going downhill, level ground, running around in the suburbs or in urban areas, you have the ability to ride around and you don't have to worry about keeping up with traffic. You should have no problems keeping up with traffic. You also have the added benefit of, and I made this, I've posted this already, you have plenty of extra benefit. In a lot of places, they are legally classified as bicycles. And a lot of governments in the U.S. federal government classifies them as bicycles. You need no special license. They do not need registration, and you do not have to put plates on them. Most of them are narrow enough they will fit through a standard door opening on most houses and apartments. So if it's necessary, you can even haul it right inside if you need to. As we said earlier, you can ride in the shade in the summer, stay warm in the winter. You're a lot faster, and if you're riding this in the city and whatnot, if there is a bicycle path available to you, and usually the traffic on the bike paths are usually a lot easier than what you're dealing with on the street. So you can get on a bike path. The bike path is usually has less traffic in it, and it gives you the ability to go around. Not only do you have the ability to use the streets, you can get on the bike path if you want to. If the bike path is a straighter route, or if there's less traffic, you can get off the road and get on the bike path. So, again, that's where we stand with that. And here in the next segment, we're going to go out in the garage. I'm going to shoot some video and show you what I've been working on in the past, what I'm planning on doing in the future, and hopefully I can take you through some builds step by step and show you what we're building, and maybe we can get some other input and to help other people out with the builds and see where we can go from there. So again, check out the websites, www.velomobilenews.com. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. All right, hello, this is Jason again, out here in the garage, out here in our little shop area. I'm going to make this a short segment because we went a little long in the last one. Yes, I still have the goofy looking microphone here, so you're going to have to excuse me until I can get a hold of the nice pretty lapel mic. At any rate, I just figured I'd show you what I've done here, if you can see any of it here. Working on a recumbent trike here, a little bit of an alternative design. I've already made most of what you have here. I've got a full suspension on the back, full suspension on the front here. We're going to probably rebuild the front end here, and we'll do a little bit better video on that. We're going to move it back here because I think I made my wheelbase a tad bit too long. My first build is this right here. And I'll try to post a picture of this and get a little better video of this here later on. We'll shoot some video when it gets nice out. Right now we got a nice dreary, rainy, pouring January day out here, so it's not perfect riding weather. So I'll get some better videos of this later. This is my first build. This is a dual 26-inch high racer recumbent that I built using parts I've pretty much pulled from the trash. I pulled a mountain bike from the trash. The handlebars you see here come directly off of an old style beach cruiser bike, and pretty much the only brand new part we have on here are the brake cables and the chain. So, and we may be doing a little bit different with that too. So, and we'll go over some of the parts I use, some of the tools I use, and how to build some of this from scratch. This is a trike from scratch. We may do more trikes from scratch, but I'm not sure exactly. I'm not really big on recumbent trikes as far as just buying them because I can't afford one. So I built my own. So we'll have to go over that a little bit more and go over a little bit some of the tools out here. I do a little bit of my own welding here, and I'm new to that, so I'm still learning to weld. I have a 115 volt stick welder, so we'll have to learn to use that together because I'm an amateur at that. I'm actually a novice. I haven't made it up to amateur level yet. So that's where we're going with that. And I'll show you some of the welding I've done. Basically, I use a welder and an angle grinder here, and I've pretty much build whatever I want here with a little vise and some other tools. Anybody wants to look into Atomic Zombie, look up Atomic Zombie. They have, I believe it's www.atomiczombie.com. They also have some YouTube videos, and there's also an excellent book they have out. I don't remember the title of it, but I'll have to get that, and I'll show a picture of that later on. And they go over about what they build. Using welders and angle grinders, if you've got any kind of mechanical ability, they're easy to use. There's nothing fanciful about it, and it should work out pretty good for you. So we'll go ahead and leave it at that, and with a future video I will go into more detail about what I use, how I use it, and what we're going to be doing with some of the projects, and what we're going to be doing in the future here. We'll be doing some more, this is my first Velomobile project, and it will definitely not be my last. Hopefully I can build some more of them. I'll get good enough. Hopefully somebody will want to buy one of them. At least that's my goal. So we'll leave it at that. This is Jason Latimer with velomobilenews.com.